Hi everyone, welcome to webinar with Rising Scholars. I have started the recording of the session. The message must have popped up on your screen when the recording started. So your being here is a consent for us to record the session. We'll be using it for various dissemination purposes later on. So let me share my screen. First of all, we're very glad to have everybody on board with us today for this Learning Friday. We also have Dr. Sridhar Gautam with us. We will be having a webinar on the theme of preprints for showcasing work in progress. Think it, write it, preprint it. And I would like to say something about introduce you to Dr. Sridhar Gautam before we move on with our program. Dr. Sridhar is a principal scientist in plant physiology at ICAR, Indian Institute of Horticultural Research in India, and he's also the convener of Open Access India, a strong advocate for open access, open data, and open science. He was previously a DOAZ ambassador. He played a key role in developing agri uh, pardon me if I pronounce it wrong, Agri RXIV and Indie RXIV to support preprint publishing. His contributions to open access include the India Jewel Diamond open access platform for journals and the Journal of Horticulture Sciences partnership with REDALC, enhancing visibility and accessibility of agricultural research. So we'd like to welcome you here, Dr. Sridhar. Thank you so much for agreeing to host the webinar for Global Scholars of Rising Scholars this Friday. Moving ahead, there are some of the housekeeping rules that I'd like to put forward before handing it over to Dr. Gautam. We are recording this session, like I previously mentioned, and your participation will indicate your consent for the recording. Closed captions are available. Click on the CC button below. It is on the More section in the toolbar below your Zoom screen. If you don't find it, please let me know anytime. If you have any technical issues, please let us know via the chat or email me at asta.subedi@inaps.info. And to reduce the background noise, we'd like to request everybody to mute themselves, and we'll also be muting you except our speaker today. Please raise your hand in the participant panel if you'd like to ask a question during the question and answer session. Questions and comments can also be submitted at any time in the chat. So that would be from my end for now. I'd like to hand this session over to Dr. Sridhar Gautam to take it forward in the world of preprints. I'm also very excited about learning today, and I hope a lot of us are also excited. I'd like to request everybody to make the utmost use of the interactive tools that Zoom offers to make this session efficient for everybody. And I hope you have a very good Learning Friday. Over to you, Dr. Gautam.
Yeah, thank you, Asta, for giving me this opportunity from the Rising Scholars. I've been a follower of this from the previous name. Now it's in the new branding, and it's great. Vibrancy is growing, and welcome you all the participants for this webinar. I'm glad to have you all here. And today's topic, we'll be talking on the preprints as Asta was talking. I'll be using slides to discuss something about the preprints, and then how a researcher or a who has early career person or a senior most researcher in the institute or a university would be getting benefited, and how the preprints are evolving, and who are all the players into this, how the communities are looking at it, how the funders are looking at it, and how publishers are also coming into this arena. So all these things we would like to be I would like to discuss with you all using some of my slides. I'll be sharing the screen here. Yeah. So the topic for today's webinar, Preprints for showcasing work in progress. Like in the scholar communications, you may be hearing like, reprints, like whenever you go for a, scholar research, search in libraries or somewhere, there used to be a reprint request, like you write to the authors to share. But now that time has changed and you have a, visibility online through websites or any search engines, like maybe even the Google Scholar or nowadays like ResearchGate, or many are coming up where you can request for a, paper if they don't have the, shared it in a publicly available. So the prints are from that. Reprinting is the another print of the article which was published in a journal. Earlier it was mostly of print only journals. Now now everyone has moved from print to the online, and many of them are open access. So in scholar communications, journal articles play a very significant role in sharing the, knowledge. Then what is the preprint? Let me understand that preprint is the version of a scholarly paper shared publicly before peer review. When you submit an article to a journal, it undergoes a peer review. See, peer review is must to be, essential factor in a publishing things. And once you submit, it gets, editorial clearance at the first instance. Then it will be sent for a peer review, and it eventually gets published in a journal. So that is the traditionally which we are seeing and which is happening. But with the advent of the new technologies, new web technologies, where the web can be, not only reading, it can be rewrite thing, and also it speaks to you. So with that advancement of the new technologies and with the access to the new technologies at doing their research at the institute level or in university level or a lab, for few, for some still there is a, hardships are all there, but still there is a, betterment from compared to the previous ages. So now when a research is conducted in a lab, the researchers would like to share it publicly through a journal. Why? Means the research what they have carried out in the lab has to be vetted by the public or the peers. So that for that, the only means is the journal publication. But what is the issue is, which we'll be taking next in that, in the publication on my right of that slide, you can see there is a graphics taken from the Wikipedia. There is a preprint, postprint, and published. So these are the three versions of the article or the manuscripts which a scholar develops after doing his or her research in a laboratory. The first draft of the articles which he or she makes, it is the preprint. No doubt about it, the first draft which anyone makes with whatever the data is there, that is the preprint. And you might have seen like those authors would like to share with their colleagues or seniors to look at the manuscript before submitting to a journal. So that has become a limited, sharing with the closed peers of their lab or anything. But what if it is shared publicly for public to comment on it before submission to a journal? So the preprint servers, which accept the preprint, the first draft of the article into the server, would do the same job as done by the peers of the lab or the institute or the university or the same discipline, but publicly. So for this, like you see, there are servers named by archive. XIV is the, you pronounce it as Xive or archive, archive client. See, archive, bioarchive, agri archive, India archive. These are all the, what is suffix XIV has been added to the preprints following the first preprint server, which is more popular in physics and allied sciences, is the archive, arxiv.org, supported by Cornell. So following that, like Asta was also able to say, was saying that agree or something like it is a archive or archive. So India Archive is the Indian preprint repository. Agri Archive is for the agriculture repository. BioArchive is for biology, and archive is the first one which the physics community have developed, and it is being used. But preprint and the published version, you have a difference. What is that? Preprints are never are not peer reviewed. But now time is also changing. We'll come in the next few slides later that even the preprints are also being reviewed. And they all can be cited and shared. Why it can be cited, why it's shared, or what is making it possible is for each and every preprint which the preprint server accepts and publish would get a DOI, digital objective identifier. Using that, it can be shared, it can be cited. Coming to the next slide. So I have taken from the ASAP bio. That is the one community which is talking more about preprints in biology after the physics. Archive, I was saying, it was the earliest preprint repository. Now many have joined, and in a biology, which was like, lagging behind. So the community felt that there is a need to have the preprints concepts in the biology as well. So this community has developed, and they are doing a lot of good work. Probably the attendees would like to visit after this webinar or the site asapbio.org. So when you see the peer-reviewed journal article process, you write a manuscript, the journal submission happens. After editorial clearance, it will be sent for a peer review and then it published. And probably it will take 4 to 12 months. Ideally, but there are instances which is going beyond as well. But the research publication which is delayed is of no use, because the research has to be immediately available to the public so that the science progress rapidly, and the other researchers who are working would get the leads from the published and literature, and then they can do much more advanced experiments, and then also discuss about the existing scientific knowledge which is being published. When it compared with a preprint is a first draft, again it says, and it can be submitted to preprint server within a day or two. It gets posted on the preprints. We will not say it is published, it is post. We will use the publish for the published article, and then once it is posted on the preprint server, it can be utilized, it can be open for peer review as well. When we say that preprints are not peer reviewed, but it is open to peer review, the author can request for a peer review, or the volunteers, or the suppose it is submitted to an agriculture preprint repository, the discipline scientists or the researchers, if they are looking at those articles and would like to comment on that, and there are ways and means to comment on the preprints, that will help the authors to get the feedback and improve upon the research, what they are doing in their labs. And it can go on and on, like, till you are satisfied, till the author gets all the feedback, at a considerable level, then the author would like to submit to a journal, and that journal process happens. Ultimately, a researcher would like to publish in a journal, but to to buy the time of 4 to 12 months, that considerable time, and like to claim the priority of the work that we'll be seeing in the next slides. A researcher, one researcher doing in a lab A and another researcher doing in a lab B, at the same time they are working on the same aspects, but there is no crosstalk between them because nothing is being shared, and they will be independently working on it. And somebody publishes early, and somebody who's waiting for it, for the more results to come out and then he might have delayed. But when peer review happens, when the review of literature happens, the first publisher only gets cited, and everyone would like to see, will only say that he is the person in the lab B is the one who has developed this or who has worked on it. But the fact is that even the person in the lab A also doing the same thing. So this pre-printing, if a author would like to share, if a author shares the preprint in a server, then he can claim the priority and he can show to the world, see, this is my work and these are my results. That is a work in progress. Probably he'll be getting some results which may not be in a perfect thing, or he is having some issues. So that he can show to the world and then ask the feedback and see, this is my result. I'm getting like this. Is it in the same line, or I'm doing somewhere, I'm missing something? And there are instances that people have commented and then they are rectified, and then that gets, streamlined. So just again, in a comparative statement, which I'm sharing it here, preprints versus peer-reviewed articles. Basically, preprints are not peer-reviewed by peers at the first instance, but in later it can be reviewed. And peer-reviewed articles are always, because the name goes, peer-reviewed article. And the time to publish is, as I said, it is in 1 to 2 days. But an article to get published, it takes years sometimes. And preprints, or because it has to be shared publicly and it has to be, feedback has to be given. Mostly it is freely shared by the authors and with a open public license. But articles, if it is not published in an open access journal, if it is in a subscribed journal, it is always a paywall. And then citations, both are common because DOI gets for both these articles. And then there is a version control. What is that version control? Once a journal article is published in the journal, that is end of that thing. You cannot improve upon it. It is the end of that stage. But in a preprint, you can have versions, version 1, 2, 3, 4 like this. With the whenever the author is getting some kind of feedback from the peers, the author is improve upon the thing and then publishing it again. It goes with the same DOI, but there will be a version V1, V2, V3. There will be a difference, and all these 3 versions you can find at the same preprint repository. I was saying that there is first archive was the physics, mathematics, computer science related one, which started in 1991, supported by Cornell University. It has now more than 2.2 or 7 million records as on today, after 30 plus years. Following that, you can see there are a lot of other archives have come up, and you have to know the contributions of OSF, Open Science Framework, preprints from the America, who were were encouraging the other disciplines or the regional repositories to come up and grow. And at the same time, there are the publishers and other entities from the, you can say, elsewhere, which has taken over the SSRN, research networks, and you name any subject, it is there. It's like in a one slide, I couldn't put everything, but you can see, like, you name a subject, it is there from A to W. And that is there in a SSRN network. You can visit that site and look at those subjects in that. So this is the Cornell's University's archive, which started in 1991. You can see the first page, the web's grab of it. You can search for it, and there are more than 2.4 million articles, you can say, and you will see how it is growing in the next slide. See, after 33.8, 33 years of the existence, how the pre-printing is progressing. Means lot of people are now coming into the mode of pre-printing. Why? Because the researchers don't want to wait for the longer gestation period of publication, and they want to immediately communicate to the peers, and also wants at the same time the feedback to improve upon the the work. So that's how this is growing. And you can see if you visit this COAR, the Confederation of Open Access Repositories, has also started a directory of open access preprint repositories. In default, preprint repositories are all open access, but you can see there is one Arab archive close to submission only. Reasons we need to just understand, but most of the repositories are openly available. You can get know about this if you visit this website. And to reiterate again, let's see what are the benefits of preprints. As I was saying, there is a rapid dissemination of results because it is on the internet, and whatever is internet, it gets it will be there unless you remove it, but still there will be some where it gets archived. So before putting anything in the internet, we should be very cautious, but no, not less. Once it mostly it's going not to happen, but visibility before journal publications. That's what the gestation of around year time can be bought, means the reduced. It can be reduced the time of publications by preprinting. And suppose like I did my master's and I'm looking for a PhD or postdoc or for any other fellowships or for any projects, and how the reviewers, the project reviewers or a fellowship to which I am submitting would know about my work. If it is taking a lot of time for the publication of the articles, I can show the published work plus also work in progress by sharing the preprints. You can just share the voice in your resumes, or it can be bibliography, formats are same for preprints as well, but you can mention in the brackets it's a preprint, or you can make it as a peer-reviewed articles another section, preprints as another section. And being a preprint available on the preprint server, you can get the feedback. So community feedback is the opportunity is there. And the one which would like to use this preprint is to openly available for everyone. And from the day one, it is openly accessible for the peers to look at it. I would like you to just look at this one of the site called Research Square. Research Square is part of Nature Network, as I think, and it is the one of the preprint platform, has a close collaboration with the participating journals from the Nature. Scientific reports and BMC journals are there. What they do is, there is an option in this Research Square. If you are submitting to this repository, first instantly, at the time of posting, it will ask you whether you would like to share submit to a journal of your interest from the list, or you have any choice to submit. Or else, if you are directly submit to a journal, in that journal while submitting, which are participating in this Research Square, that journal will pop up and say that would you like to have the preprint posted in the Research Square. Here they have just featured some of the preprints, and you can see there is a under review and then posted, published. Under review is under review at the journal, and posted is it is posted on the Research Square, and published is published elsewhere in a journal. BMC musculoskeletal disorder journal got published this preprint. How it looks when you see it, when you visit a preprint, click on this one of the things, and it says this is a preprint. It is not being peer reviewed by a journal. This is the article which is available for you to read it. But at the same time, it also being published in a scientific report open access journal. Even that published article is openly available. Think a scenario where you have submitted to a journal which is not open access. Though the person who is visiting or who would like to read about this is not able to access the journal article, but he has the access to the preprint of that one of the versions. It may not be the same of the peer-reviewed final publication, but it is the first version. See here, the version 1 only got reviewed. See, you can see the history here. 10th February, they have agreed, and then finally in the March 6th, it got revisions requested, and then finally it got published in April. On 21st, it is published for this thing. Look at the other preprint which has been submitted to Research Square. Here, it was submitted in February to this Research Square repository. At the same time, it also submitted to a journal, and then journal were during that time, and also it has requested, this preprint was requested for a peer review in other platform. So once the platform like feedback has come, it has changed from version 1 to version 2 and then version 3. The final version is version 3. It is here available, but it is not published in any other journal. It is not published in any other journal. Thank you. It is not published in any other journal. So it is lying there, but you can see there is a improvements on version, and each version has its own DOI. See, last V3 is the one change which you find for a third version. This is happening, and every as a it's being a community driven aspects, but the publishers and the funders are also coming into this arena. And now the Scopus, again with the elsewhere, they were only indexing the journals and books. Now they started indexing these preprints as well. Some of the preprints from the medRxiv or bioRxiv, biology archive or medicine medRxiv, they're all are under the indexing of Scopus. And now there is a growing recognition officially into the scientific ecosystem by the funders and also the journals. Journals have changed their policy, and they are saying that now a preprint is not a published version. It is in work in progress. We encourage the authors to submit the preprints alongside of submission to our journal, or journal also accepts preprints submitted elsewhere in any other platform. And citations are there because people are quoting, and there is a because of visibility, and the authors would get a career prospects boosted up. That's what this is the Scopus one. It was saying that it is now indexing the preprints. This is the Journal of Cardiology, some College of Cardiology. It has changed the policy, and the preprint posting is not considered prior publication. That is the statement. And this has now again, as I was talking about the Research Square, this JACC journal is also having some association with medRxiv, and the interoperability of the manuscripts between these two has come into the effective. An author can directly submit to medRxiv from there to JACC, or from JACC to medRxiv also at a long time he can submit. So that is the integration of medRxiv has come into this system. And it has submit authors may use any reputable preprint server, not only limited to medRxiv, but you can submit to any preprint. From there, you can submit that article to this journal. But when you write to the cover letter to the editors, you have to mention whether it is submitted, if it is submitted as a preprint, its DOI, and then where it has been published or posted, so that the reviewers would know, or the editorial board would know, that it's a preprint which is submitted to a journal. And they have a policy, and that's what they have put up here. And but what they say is, see, like in the research square also, you can see that once it is published, there is a link. Here also, this journal policy says that once this preprint is published as an article, in the preprint there should be a link for the final publication. Sometimes it's a tricky, because we may, as author, we may not be able to do it, but still, you can talk to the server administrators, they can do. Or sometimes this crossref, which is giving the DOI, is also trying to build some kind of a modules wherein there is a preprints which is already published can crosstalk. Like you can reach from the posted preprints, from poster preprints to the published preprints. And there is a caution. Why? Means there is a growing interest, growing support for the preprints. Publishers are coming, funders are coming, but still not many publishers are embracing this kind of a preprinting policy. As an author, if you are like targeting a journal, and if you means that journal may or may not be permitting you to publish the preprints, so you should be cautiously looking at it. You need to have a informed decision. You can revisit the directory of open access preprint repositories, and also you can also find, you have to visit this Open Policy Finder, which is from UK based Sherpa Services. It was the earlier name, Sherpa Romeo. Now it has become a Open Policy Finder at JISC UK. You can search there for a publisher. You can search as a journal, both giving the, you can also search for a funder. Suppose you got a funding from Gates Foundation. So what is their policy? So you can search for it. So let's see I just took our journal, like we publish a Journal of Horticultural Sciences from this institute, and we have a registered our policy. And the policies, once you search, it shows like this: published option with no embargo, accepted option with no embargo, submitted option with no embargo, but under this license. What it is: published, submitted, accepted. Submitted is the preprint. The preprints can be submitted to any preprint repository. The journal allows it. There is a policy that preprints can be shared, but there is one note here that it can be only shared under CC BY license. That is, they are using non-commercial and share alike license. But as an author, you have the prerogative to use any of this, and most of the the open access advocates advocate for the CC BY license. We'll see what is that in the next slides. It's about Creative Commons license, open licensing. So these are, like, if you want to know what journal policy as a as a preprint policy, you can get it from this site. So this is I just took from the Gates Foundation open access policy, and they changed. Earlier they were funding for the APCs. They were funding for APCs to publish in a gold OA. Gold OA is gold open access journals, which are born digital, but they are open access and then all the articles are available under CC BY, Creative Commons Attribution License. But the publisher wants the authors to pay article processing charges. So funding agency is supporting the authors to pay that APCs, and the journals were accepting the articles, and then eventually it is getting published. But they just changed the policy, and effective from this year, January 1, 2025, which is saying that pre-printing is the sufficient. You don't need to submit to any journal. you means no mandatory, but the author, the grantees can submit to any journal of their choice, but no more APCs will be given by them. And the condition is it should be CC by license, and it should be mentioned that it is acknowledgement should be given, and it has to be timely reposited. And though they are saying like by archive or very archive, but any repository will do, like Zenodo also will do. And there should be always a data availability statement. This is as per the open access policy. The one for this we are now talking about is mandatory posting as a preprint. So that is the main change in the policy and the Gates Foundation. So on their website, if you go, there is a guide how you can comply if you are a grantee from the Gates Foundation. We were just like talking about the preprints are there as a in a very subject in all the subjects, and but there are region specific languages focused as well, like Japanese archive is a recent one, and Arab archive, African archive, and India archive. These are the two regions. Region specific archives are also there, so that they would like to consolidate the research from a region available at one locus. It is only a making the grouping, but it is open for everyone to read or use it, but it is only restricted for the people of the region to contribute, or people who are working on these regional subjects or regional entities. I was talking about bioarchive and medarchive. These we'll be talking now again in detail. This is after that after the archive of physics, bioarchive and medarchive has come into existence. It is supported by Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory and funded by Chan Zuckerberg Foundation. And the two popular preprint repositories which we are now seeing from health sciences and biology is one is medarchive, which has again a policy, and then because being a medical preprint repository, because anything which is just published should not be giving a wrong message, because it's related to the medicine, and then public patients are all one is involved. So there will be some kind of a cross checks. There will be a clearance from the affiliates. They are now taking recruiting the volunteers as affiliates who can contribute their time and efforts to screen the submissions. And there is another high level group also which also looks after the working once this affiliates clears, sometimes if they have an issue. This is the policy which they on their website they are talking, like original version from an author is get submitted, it gets screened for the content and check all these things. If it is not going with the norms, it will be declined. So it will never be on the medarchive. It will not never be posted. Once if it is going with this everything, and there will be plagiarism check and affiliate screens. If there is any issue, leadership discuss, and then if it is okay, it gets posted or it gets declined. So they say it's normally takes 1 to 2 days. So large number of affiliates are working to hasten the process. So sometimes the version 1 may be declined, so he submits the revised version if it is okay and it gets posted, or the version 1 which is posted would be again, if it is revised, it will be checked for the posting. Similar kind of methodology and then clearance is also happening in this bioarchive. This has taken a more major popular during the COVID time, and a lot of preprints are there. But again, there was a controversy on that, like some of the unvetted or not peer-reviewed things were published, available online, and then there is a reporting by the news journalist, like taking the published versions from the posted reprints from the bioarchive, medarchive. But again, they mentioned that wherever there is a preprint, it should be mentioned that it is not peer reviewed, it's in work in progress. All these scholars are now aware, and even journalists are also made aware about, like, they should not quote, uh, if it is, like, they should be cautiously quoting if the articles they have taken are from a preprint repository. So about medRxiv and bioarchive, and now we have the agri archive. So I'm talking about, like, we have subject specific and the regional specific. So one of the subject specific is again agri archive. It is under the CABI. Many of us will be knowing this. CABI is from the agriculture and biotechnology or biology abstracting services, and also they talk about, like, publications comes about as a books and many things, and the referencing material which we usually search. The CAB abstracts were most popular when we were doing our research as MSc or the PhD. So this is a repository for the agriculture. Again, any author can submit the articles into this, and it's available in a day or two online. This is for the India archive. We are also having a repository for India and then we have the various categories which can be tagged to the preprints, which is going to be published here, posted here. These are also having the DOI, can be cited, and also indexed in the Google Scholar. We didn't go, ours is not in the Scopus, but it is there. And we have another interesting, a very popular preprint repository for the whole of African continent is Africa Archive. This also takes the first draft of the manuscript, but now the preprints, it is not only confined to a journal article kind of a manuscripts. It can be a reports, it can be data sets, it can be code, it can be illustrations. Reports usually will never get published as a journal article. It is available, submitted to a organization, or it is in the libraries. To make it more accessible, available online, these repositories would give a chance for the reports to be seen by the world. Or maybe you will be writing some class assignments also, or some short reports, maybe in a short project which will take up. That can be again, put up in a preprint repository. So preprints are not peer reviewed. So reports are not peer reviewed. Some reports may be, but we can take that everything is not starting. It is not peer reviewed, but you can request for a peer review later on. So this is the Japanese archive, which is started by the Japan Science and Technology Agency. Again, it is in Japanese, or sometimes you find some articles in English as well. So one of my another preprints favorite is Zenodo. Again, it's a global preprint repository. It's not only preprints, it's again, you can say there's an open repository. You can have anything on a scholar communications, preprints, datasets, software, slides, even the suppose lecture notes or the presentation notes can also be archived on this repository, can be getting a DOI, and it gets integrated with any of this, like ORCID is the one which all the scholars are now having as a recognition ID for the author. You can put it, and it is managed by the CERN, and you see any of the reports which are brought out by any organization which is working on this public open science or anything. You find their reports available in this Zenodo. Very archaic. This is another preprint server. See, there are, how the preprinting has changed and new faces, new things we are seeing it. Gates Foundation also talks about this very archive. This is again from the Taylor Francis group. Gates Foundation mentions about this, but it's not a mandate. But here, a verified preprint server, they are saying, like the articles which are submitted to this are verified by the peers, and you can say it's a verified preprint server. And interestingly, there is another archive which is having a database of around 14,000 retracted preprints. So on what basis this preprint has been retracted? So everywhere retraction happens because nobody is at the first instance would like to see any issue except from some ethical things. So later on, once the peers get interested in those things and then try to know about this, so when they flag, it gets retracted. So on what issues this has happened is, some are policy violations to a factual, methodological, or other crucial errors. And then some may be incomplete work. Like the work was like happening when we say that work in progress has to be reposited. Probably the author would have not taken a chance, taken an initiative to go for the further research and then improve upon it. So many things are now so every scholarly communication, whether if it is withdrawn or posted, it is available for us to know. Here, interestingly, see, we would like, these are the negative things sometimes. Through that, we can know like what is the reason for this kind of things. Otherwise, we will never know. So these repositories are helping us to know the truth of science. As a researcher or as an author, how we are going to use this effectively is like there are many repositories are there, but of our choice we should see, and it should be some reputed server. Like if it is a reputer, then we will get more public feedback will be there, so that because it is reputable and it's a popular means everyone would like to see it. And when we are posting or anywhere when you are mentioning that we should always, there should be a disclaimer that it's a preprint and not being peer reviewed. Okay, so once you submit and it is got posted, so it is our duty as an author or researcher that it should be shared. It should be shared by any means, social media to emails or whatever, so that will help the alert the other people who are working in the same area or your own peers, then to look at it and then look and give the feedback. Because it's online, you can as an author can see the feedback, you can monitor, and then as we see there is a version control, you can revise and then resubmit to the repositories. So this is the, sorry if it is not legibly clear for this screen. It is the Creative Commons licensing, which I have taken from ASAP Bio. CCO waiver to no license. But all the preprints you need to tag with some kind of a license so that people would like to use properly. Without no license, you cannot how a person would like to know it, what is. All the time, the advocates recommends for CC BY so that there is a attribution for that and you are properly acknowledged and you will be quoted, you will be, given a, kind of a recognition. So CC BY is the most ideal, but CCO is another thing where you will never claim any of the rights on that. So it's up to that, and the US government employees has this policy, not everywhere, CCO things, but whole world, they say this CC BY, this is the Creative Commons licensing, which you would, if you would like to know, you can visit that site creativecommons.org license, and there is an option. There is a one choose the license tool. Using that tool, you can choose a appropriate license to be used for your manuscript, or for that matter, any of your scholarly work or a creative work. It is you, once you put anything on a tangible thing, like you write on a paper, so you get the copyright on that, but you need to register to show it in the courts, or to have if there is any disputes, you have to show that it is registered. Otherwise, there is no need for registration. But once you put anything on a tangible thing, it is you as author will get the copyright. But you having the copyright, you need to license it for the others to use it. On what grounds or how they can use it? There, like no derivatives. No, you should not translate. It should be in a English language. No, but this is not good. It has to be translated to a other languages as well. Like if Japanese preprint is there and you are not able to read it, or if it is in Hindi in India, the English you want to have it. If it is licensed, no derivatives, no. And then non-commercial. There is a controversy like whether you should go for a non-commercial or commercial aspect, but it's a debatable, and you should understand. You should take your conscious decision whether it can be commercially used. Commercial means not for profit, but suppose I want to download all the preprints of a particular theme, maybe a photosynthesis, and would like to make it as a book, and that involves cost, and that I made it. Why? Because it's easy for people to use it while traveling, or if it is in library or anywhere somebody wants to read, not on the screen but on the hand, so they need it. And because it's like cost involved is there should be some commercial price for it. So that thing, so you need to know it. Okay, so so that is the non-commercial aspects, and share alike is the one on the what ground or what license or what rights you are giving. It should be on the same license. That's how this share alike is there. And all the preprint servers have the inbuilt mechanism to choose the license of your choice. A pre-informed choice you have to take, and then you take a license. I was saying that the community ASAP Bio, it's now hard, it's working hard with for the as accelerating science and publication in biology, ASAP, as soon as possible. So it's a global advocacy organization. Much of my material have taken from them. It supports the communities to learn and then preprint, and it is doing a lot of advocacy aspects. Some of the researchers can also join as the fellows or affiliates for this ASAP Bio, and they will be given some project to work on it. They can build up a policy, or they build up a new workflows or whatever. So I urge that the attendees should look at these possibilities from the community. And this, while that is ASAP is supporting the communities, there are other entities which are all again working for the preprints in biology. One is the one platform which I am showing, it is Prelights. This is what you have submitted a preprint to a repository, and maybe a biology repository or bioarchive, and you are not submitted to any journal, so it is there. So these communities would like to see if there is an interesting preprint, and they talk about it, they review on it, they comment on it. So and then they showcase in this Prelights platform. So that is how some of the some aspects which are not seen or not talked about gets highlighted through this kind of interventions. Similarly, there is a preprint club. Now ASAP Bio is also supporting the institutions or the universities to have a preprint clubs or a journal clubs where they review the preprints and then they summarize and then they directly communicate to the authors or post on the line or post here. So this is one of the preprint club. And there is a peer review again. Here also, as a suppose I have submitted to a preprint I posted my preprint to a repository and I want get it review also. So here I can request my review of my paper. Probably the versions which I was showing in the research square has taken one of the version has come from this also. So there was a feedback on my preprint and it got version changed. So like that, I was saying that though we say that preprints are not peer reviewed, but as author, you can also request. If you are not requesting, some of the entities, clubs or initiatives are doing the peer review kind of thing and then making available for others to talk on more on those work. As a like before preprinting, we need to understand that if is there any sensitive data, mostly it is for the clinical trials and identities. So always we should be careful in that. And preprints are like, it's not individual thing. If I have a co-authors, I should take the opinion of everyone. What is happening is sometimes the researchers over enthusiastically submit their articles and some of the co-authors say that you should not do it. I was hearing this somewhere that one of the co-author was not interested in putting preprint because they says that it should still we need to work on it. Then before preprinting again, we should also check for the preprint policy for target journal if it is in your mind, and if you are not having anything in your mind, just go ahead and preprint it. And dual submissions are not recommended. Though we talk about the lots of copies keep stuff safe, but a preprinted in one platform having a DOI need not to be available in otherwhere because it is openly available and it can be harvested by the harvesters. But you can mention, suppose you are giving into another platform, you can mention the first preprint DOI so that it will connect to the original thing, not the landing thing. So these things we need to keep in mind. So I'll just take pause. If there are any questions, Asta would like to have it here and look for the next things.
Sure, Sridhar. Uh, okay. I'm checking through. I have found one question here. I thought Genodo is for only science paper. Is this true? Somebody have asked this.
What is that?
Rebucatus has asked. I thought, yes.
What is that question? Sorry, again.
The question is, I thought Genodo is for only science papers. Is this true?
No. It is for everything. It is for every scholarship. Means not only linked to science. It can be any subject, multidisciplinary, and it will have all kind of data also can be deposited. Code of your computer program also can be deposited. It's not no discrimination. It's multidisciplinary and it is global.
Please unmute yourself and you can ask, or you can raise your hand. Do you have any questions?
Hello.
Okay.
Oh,
Yes, please.
I have a question. Okay, yeah, my question is, please, I don't know if the recording of this webinar will be shared with participants.
Presentation.
Yeah, I think it can be shared.
Hello?
It is actually all.
Sir, good
It's-
afternoon, sir.
Yes.
Sir, this is useful for our career advance scheme, sir, CAS or any other.
It depends upon the research assessment policy of your institute or the university. But when it comes to Indian policy, I can speak on that. The
Okay.
like
Sir,
UGC,
yes, sir. ICR.
ICR has not made any policy on preprints as in the research assessment.
Near future, we can see, sir. This.
Yes,
Now they
yes.
are. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
There is a changes, like you can see in the UGC, earlier there was a mandatory for 2 articles to be published. But
Yes, sir.
from 2022 onwards, the policy has changed and preprinting is okay. You have 2 preprints in of your thesis, and then you can submit your thesis for the PhD. So like that, it has changed. So you can expect evolving of a new research assessment policies wherein preprints are taken consideration. Already the academia, the INSA, has recommended that for the early career researchers, the preprints should be taken consideration, but not in the career advancement, but in the projects. So maybe in the next, it
There
can
is
be.
so much of unpublished research, sir. Because of this delay in journal publication, there is so much of unpublished research in there. Still.
Yeah,
stagnant.
that's the reason. That's the reason I suggest that you should do the preprint so that it will be available for others to use. Otherwise,
Others
you will
should.
never get the light.
Very good approach, sir. Very good approach. Thank you.
Okay, so Samuel has said, could you share the recording, please? Thank you. Samuel, I have already shared with you the links for our socials. We have also shared the link to our social media YouTube. You can access the recording from there once we prepare everything and upload it. Thank you. So there is another question, Sridhar. Must I seek the consent of my target journal before I post in preprint server? Murtala has asked this. If she must seek the consent of her target journal before posting in preprint server.
No, they will not give any consent in the sense like you don't need to ask them. There is already set policy. If you look at this, open policy finder, if you look at the major publishers, like you search for a Springer or elsewhere, they mention that all preprints are welcome and they are not pre-publications. So they have blanketly given, like very few who has not thought about this, maybe has not mentioned any policy. If you are not finding, you can ask them if they have a policy on preprints.
Okay, thank you, Sridhar. I hope your question is answered, Murtala. So next is, Mathurin has asked, if I already submitted my paper to the predatory journal, can I put it in preprint?
Which journal?
Predatory journal.
Yeah. How you ever see, predatory journals are, we cannot say predatory, some are questionable journals are also there. Once it is available online, once it is published, if that predatory journal is a open access journal, you don't need to submit a preprint. But if it is a paywall journal, you can always have that one copy as a preprint in a preprint repository. But I would like you to look at this. The predatory or questionable journals are like, we are all prey to those. For that, there is another website called Think, Check, Submit, where using that resources, you will know whether it is a predatory or questionable. But if you already submitted and it's in the process, and if find that is a predatory or questionable, you can withdraw it the same manuscript can be posted as preprint. Instead of submitting to them, you do it. If it is already published, you cannot do anything because it's already there. You don't need to have another version of it.
Hello, my hand has been raised. I have
Sridhar,
two
sorry, I
questions
have
to
to turn off my video. The internet is.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so please, I have two questions to ask. So first of all, thank you for this presentation because I'm just getting to fully understand what preprints are all about. So I want to know, is there a timeline to submitting to a preprint? Like, is there a time frame? Like, how long would a research have been conducted before it can be accepted as a preprint? For instance, right now, I'm thinking of a research I conducted 2 years ago that I've been battling back and forth with journals. So I don't know, is it acceptable? A 2-year lag?
Yeah. See, preprints are not the publishing platforms like journals. You know, they need a standard, like you should have a repetition, replication, or the time frame, like you should have the work for 2 years, 3 years. But preprints are your own, like you are using those platforms to showcase. So you can share anything, but you should be confident that these are the results which I can share with the people. So you should take a decision. It's not like today. See, there are some experiments which takes only few days. There are some experiments which takes longer thing. So you don't need to look for, like, there is no timeline. And then it's like you can control versions, right? If you do the first pre-printing and maybe after that you added another data to that, you can have a version 2. You can add on it like this.
All right, thank you. Then my second question is, can I also use the preprint platform to publish a proposal prior to conducting the research?
Yes. See, maybe this Zenado, you can use it like the propose. Most of the times what will happen is we do a lot of proposals. We do a lot of proposals, submit to the funding agency, and sometimes we fail, sometimes we'll get it. You can, that need the work which you have put up should not go in vain. Somebody would like to know it or learn from it, what was the proposal. So it's always that whatever the scholarship which we produce should be archived anywhere. Zenado is for the proposals, and then there is a fig share wherein you can also share your figures. The graphs also, anything can be shared. Preprints can you can use the proposals as a preprint as well in some of the platforms. For that matter, I recommend Zenado.
Thank you very much.
Somebody was asking preprint papers categorized as grade literature. Yes. Alien, go ahead, please.
Yes.
You have a
Okay,
question?
thank you for the question. Is my question is about only a clarification because we can we can also consider prepping if you put your work on the website like ResearchGate without put in the repository, right? All right.
Yeah, in the ResearchGate, you see there is a option to add preprints.
Yeah, because in fact I wanted to have a general knowledge about what we call preprint. That means preprint can be a work that you can post in a public website, for example, like ResearchGate, or then you make in the repository, like archive and so on.
Yeah.
So,
yes, you can see the preprint which you have posted can be sought for a peer review from that website, pre-review website.
okay. All right, because sometimes I see one researcher post a work on ResearchGate. When I want to download, I did not see any DOE. Yeah, I understand that. Of course, it's just a work that is just post in ResearchGate like that because you cannot see a digital identifier.
Yeah, sometimes like maybe some might have, these are all unfinished or they didn't, all the metadata is not put into that. Maybe he doesn't have a DOI for that. There may be reasons, but again, preprints are all again has to be taken with a pinch of salt in the sense you should know that these are all not vetted properly. Which these are only work in progress, means it has not fully closed as a work. So it's in the progress. You can see what is happening. If you are on the same thing, you can learn from that, or you can cross talk, you can have a collaborations.
Okay. I wanted to know, I really appreciate your presentation. Can we get access to the slide? I leave my email or I don't know, or a link of a repository like Zonodo to get access to your slide of this presentation.
Yes. It can be available through Rising Scholars, or I can also put publicly available, and it's like I think through this you can use it. There is no issue.
Yeah, thank you. I will really appreciate to get access to the slide.
Sure.
Please.
It will be shared, and it's from the internet only I've taken, so it's not much creativity in that, and I cannot own anything of mine in that content.
Okay, thank you for sharing.
And somebody was asking that publish only abstract as a preprint. Abstract is an abstract of the work. The preprint also will have abstract. So you want to go beyond the abstract. Abstract is only a few words of around not more than 300. So you need to have a full paper format. You cannot post abstract as a preprint, but if the content is only having the size of an abstract, yes.
Okay, I also want to say a last something. I'm from Cameroon, Central Africa country. I also see that I'm a trainer for eLife Open Science Ambassador. I'm still training myself. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I joined the program of eLife about the training of open science. I also know that NJ already have a repository. So my Cameroon, I hope that in the future, with a deep learning training, perhaps my home country can also have its own repository like NJ. So I hope I will collaborate with you because you know a lot about open science. Yeah.
Welcome.
Okay.
Sridhar, there's also another question from Tibali, who has asked, for citing a preprint version during the research process, is it good to go with it or wait for the published version for citation if later on it's available, or cite the full article later on?
See, it is up to you which you are citing. See, and then like if there is a preprint and a published version, always you need to cite the published version. And the version which you are citing is also again most important. Suppose for somewhere, some reason, the data which was there in version 1 may not be in the published version, and you want to quote from the first draft, you can cite that as well. So you are citing the work version of that, either preprint versions or published version. Better is to cite the published version.
Okay, thank you so much for answering that. Comfort has asked the follow-up to their previous question. If a paper was mistakenly published in a predatory journal, can it be retraced or retraced or preprint and asked for a review?
See, what I want to say that if it is already published, you cannot do anything.
I think they are talking about whether if they have published it already.
No. If it is already published, you cannot do anything on that.
And then preprint it.
No. Preprints are the first draft. If it is already published, it cannot be a preprint. You cannot go back. Then there will be 2 versions of it. But yeah, you can check with that pre-review websites whether they can review the article which he has already published. There is no bar for the reviewers that still even the published versions can also be contested, or the feedback can be given, right? That's how the retractions happens in the published versions as well sometimes.
Thank you so much for the clarification, Sridhar. Anne has said, I'm interested in knowing whether we shall get guidance on presentation of qualitative data for publication. Would you like to address this? She has asked, she has mentioned, I'm interested in knowing whether we shall get guidance on presentation of qualitative data for publication.
Qualitative data. I didn't get the question, but data are also pre-printed. So you may take the data from there, or you can also put your data as a preprint. Sorry, I didn't get the question properly.
Me neither. Anne, would you like to unmute yourself and talk about
Hello,
this?
hello. I can throw some light. I'm Anne from Uganda. Yes, good afternoon. Thank you very much for that insightful presentation. Yeah, we are talking about publications. You know, most people have a bias towards quantitative presentations. Now, of recent, I was I was getting interested into qualitative publications. Currently, I'm actually writing one. Now, the first comments that I've got were that the way I presented my data, why did I turn my data, my data sets into quantitative presentation? So they were saying I needed to use purely qualitative presentation of findings. I'm interested in whether we shall, along our way, we shall have also some guidance on how best to present qualitative data in publications in these articles.
Yeah, there may be somewhere other resources how you can do those presentation formats, or how to present the qualitative data. But in a preprint, suppose just again, it may not be related to this question, but as you can see, there is a open Gates Foundation policy. There should be availability of the data. You should give that link to where the data is available for yourself, and if you have to present it properly, there may be some other resources where you can use the ways and means to present your data, qualitative data.
Can our rising scholars or can they help us, some of us, with the resources or links?
Yes, probably they may have in future.
And thank you so much for that question. We'll try and scope some of the resources and put it up on our website in the upcoming days. There already are some of the resources on the website, if you check it, and there are also the previous webinars on. Yes, please stay updated. I have shared out it to be helpful. If anyone has any more questions, you have time to take one more question. So as we do in all of our programs, we'll be taking a group picture of all of us. Are comfortable, please turn on your video. Yeah, and we'll take a picture and end the program here. Yes. Thank you so much, everyone, for turning on your video. I hope we'll get to see many more of you. So I have shared some of the links of our social media, where we share social media pages, where we share the updates, resources, and numerous opportunities of the programs as such, and other relevant opportunities for rising scholars from around the world. There's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and our website. You can go to our website and log in to become our member. You can also stay connected with us in our Google group, where a lot of discussions around various topics are happening on regular basis. There is also another webinar coming up on 30th May, the end of this month. It is on essential communication skills for science writing. You can register by using the link, and I hope I get to see many of you on that webinar. We talked about one form of research communication here today. At the end of the May, we'll be learning about essential communication skills and what we can do as an early career researchers to pace forward our work with better communication skills. So stay connected with us. So now I'll be taking a picture, and okay, everyone, please smile. We'll be posting it on our social media. So if you are comfortable, please turn on your video. If not, it's fine as it is. Okay, I can see a few of us here. Yes. Okay, let me take a picture. Smile, do something fun, maybe something like this. I have to take pictures, so I can't really do anything. If you have some creativity, show it here. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining in, and thank you so much, Dr. Sridhar, for being here with us today. I'm very glad to have you on board on behalf of Rising Scholars. Thank you very much. And I hope all of us had a very wonderful Learning Friday with Dr. Sridhar. We'd love to have you on our other programs as well, Dr. Sridhar, and also all of our participants. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much for trusting us with your scholarly journey. Stay connected with us. Thank you so much, and bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Yes, bye-bye. I'm gonna